Howdy, howdy, howdy. How we doing tonight, Chad?
Good, Poe. Thanks. How are you doing tonight?
Doing good, doing good. Just getting ready for all this stuff to go down. The We got a bunch of dream cruises going on in the area. Of course, we've had the Woodward Dream Cruise decades have been going on now, but people decided, well, we decided to have one in our area too.
Oh,
So there's like five different dream cruises going on within weeks of each other. So
oh, yeah, it's a lot.
yeah, I get to see some neat cars, but the thing is that they all start showing up at all the same stuff.
Mm.
And I'm sorry, but I don't want to see the same daggone car 100 times. If it's not mine, you know. So how's everybody doing out there tonight? Let's see. There we go,
Hey,
Shell. Hey,
show.
how's it going, Shell? So, well, let's see. I was going to talk about what happened this weekend here in Southeast Michigan. We had the Thunder over Michigan Air Show, and it kind of ties in with the car talk because we talk about anything that transports people. But we have Thunder over Michigan is a huge air show that happens yearly here in southeastern Michigan out of the Willow Run Airport. It's actually only about 7 miles away from me, and they have just these fantastic. Um, they have fantastic military demonstrations. They have a lot of incredible aircraft that come out for that one. And so this weekend, one of them that's a really unique one is a Russian-made Sukhoi Russian-made MiG, Mikoyan Garevich, Model 23. It's a supersonic variable wing aircraft, and it crashed. Unfortunately, it happened, just miles away from my home and actually crashed from behind where I was going to be sitting. So this is the aircraft that was in question, and this one was, I believe, this photo was taken at the um, Oshkosh event, AirVenture in Oshkosh every year. It's the world's largest plane gathering anywhere on the planet, and this is the MiG 23 that's in question. That's the actual plane, and it's insane. That plane sold for like a $1.5 million back in 2019, and my understanding there's only two of them that are actually airworthy in the United States right now. Well, now we're down to one, but maximum takeoff speed 15 maximum speed is 1,553 miles an hour. It could travel 1,200 miles on a full tank of gas and can climb 45,000 feet a minute. That's insane. And these are the kind of aircraft that we see. If you have all the requirements that you need, you can actually buy one of these and fly it yourself if you have all the licensing and certification that is needed for it. To me, that's just insane. That of course, that's something I want and I'd love to do, but when you think about it, man, that's crazy. So here's the first. I'm going to show some video of it, how it looked and how they look and how they sound. And this is from AirVenture at Oshkosh, and that was from July 30th of this year. And that's the same plane that I'm going to show you in just a few minutes here that actually crashed here in Michigan. The pilot did a great job, and what he did was he could have gone down into a lake that it was flying over, but there were too many boats. Aimed it into an abandoned golf course that was on the other side of the lake, and then he and the passenger ejected. And thankfully, no one was injured, no one was killed. But this will give you an idea. I'll back it up just a little bit. This will give you an idea just how powerful this thing is. And there it is. You see the wings are fully stretched out there. And that's in the full afterburner. Just insane. So this aircraft was performing at the Thunder over Michigan Air Show, and something happened. They started losing power as they were flying. Let's see here. I want to make sure I get that out of there. Okay, so they started losing power, and they couldn't get it back into shape. And these things have to maintain like 120, 140 mile an hour airspeed to be able to maintain flight. So they were losing the power, and what you're going to see here is the moment when they eject it as they're going around.
This morning, the thrill of the Thunder over Michigan Air Show taking a dramatic turn. A MiG-23 performance plane airborne over Belleville, Michigan, and then moments later, trouble. Cell phone video shows the two pilots on board ejecting with a mini explosion as the plane went down.
Now, see, what a lot of people don't understand, this aircraft uses an old style of ejection seat where instead of having rockets under the seat, the initial explosion would be to blow the canopy off the plane, and then rockets would propel the seats out of the aircraft. With this, instead of having the rockets, it had a continuous explosion like Primacord or something like that. That blows the canopy off, and then there's a secondary explosion under the seats. So they literally use like an explosive charge to get this thing to shoot those seats out of there. And I'm just, I know one of the person who was in the back seat, his name's Will Ward. He's out of Tecumseh, Michigan area. And he actually owns another one of these MiG-23s. But I'm just wondering about the damage to his back from taking that kind of concussion when it blew the seat out of it.
Crashing into an apartment complex parking lot, hitting only unoccupied parked cars. It was just flying too low.
And that's where it slid into the parking lot there. It actually hit down inside of the golf course and slid into the parking lot from there. And again, thank goodness that no one was injured. No one was seriously injured. The pilot and the passenger both were taken to the hospital and kept overnight for observation to make sure that they're fine and all. But my goodness, that could have been a bad scene. And it's that's why you have to have all those special certifications. You have to have so many hours flying before you're able to get into one of these big fighter jets like that. And that's that amount of time these guys have behind the seat. Both of them are professional airline pilots, so for them it was it's just crazy. You're literally flying a rocket with a seat in it. So
Yep.
What do you think about that?
I'm glad the pilots are okay for sure. That was a close call. They're really skilled, like you said.
That's a big loss there.
Yeah.
$1.5 million. That's insane. But here, I'll show you something that I'll pull it up. And this is a company that sells the military aircraft and such. Let's see here. Present. There we go. Still learning how to work this thing. This is a company called Raptor Aviation, and they do a lot of warbirds. You have like this aircraft here. These just take forever. It is called a BAC 167 Strike Master, BAC being British Aerospace Corporation. And this was a trainer for the Royal Air Force. And there were actually a few countries that used them as a frontline fighter for a while. You got that, and then you have the Cessna Tudor or the Tebuan in the made by the Canadian Air Force, Canadian Air Corporation, under license from Cessna. Now this one is a really interesting one. It's called a Saab J35 Draken. Of course, that means dragon. But and this is $250,000 for this aircraft. And the crazy thing about it is just how fast they are. This was actually intended to be an interceptor back in the day with a top speed of, give me just a second here, I got to pull it up. I used to know it, but it's been a little while. Top speed of 1,520 miles an hour. So this was actually a little bit slower than that MiG-23, and this was a frontline interceptor. And the whole purpose of this aircraft was to intercept intercontinental bombers, and if they could, missiles as well. So that's pretty crazy. And that's another one you can have as a private citizen. These show up a lot, and these are the MiG-21s. They're pretty squirrely. I've flown in MiG-21s before. And the problem with the MiG-21 is they have as you can see there, they have very short wings on it. So it doesn't have a huge amount of lift from those wings. It's a massively mean looking aircraft when you look at it from the side. And it's also supersonic. I believe it's 1,300 miles an hour that this aircraft could fly at. But you have to be doing 180 miles an hour just for this thing to lift off.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's kind of crazy on that. And then the same company also has, this was the last one that my dad owned. He owned one of these. We'll get to it. It's the Sipacat Jaguar. And this one has a maximum speed of 840 miles an hour. And then if you're at sea level, you could go 1,000 miles an hour. So we'll get through some of these to get you to. There's a front-on view of what the Jaguar looks like. I'll get through that. We'll get to. Okay, here's an operational photograph of a couple of them, used primarily by the French and the Royal Air Force, the British Royal Air Force. Very nice, very good operational plane. They just finally retired them out of service a few years ago. And then we have this bird here at $4.65 million. And this is going to be the, what is this one? 705 knots high, 2.4 Mach. Mach is 767 miles an hour. And this would do almost 2.5. And this is the MiG-29, the Mikoyan Gurevich MiG-29. And for a long time, this was the frontline fighter for probably 50 different countries. So showing the process, they got it cleaned up and painted from its original markings and everything. But that's what it looks like. And there's only one of them that is in private hands in the United States that's actually airworthy at this time. So it's pretty crazy. Jennifer, I think I pretty much parked that wherever I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Go a hole through a fence and go. No, they use standard. They use Jet A, and it's pretty expensive. That MiG-23, I think the operational costs of it to fly at 1 hour is like $6,000. It uses just an incredible amount of fuel to do anything that it does. So, but we're not here to talk about that, are we? What are we talking about tonight, Chadwick?
We're talking about cars that they used in movies.
Yeah. And we're going to purposefully wait until later on to put your favorite car on there, because
you did a great job with that thumbnail. It looks good.
Nah, Roscoe's not in here. Roscoe's being a little booty head right now. He's been going crazy, all the dogs in the neighborhood. So let's see. What was a movie or television car from your youth that you always thought was adorable and you always wanted one?
Besides Knight Rider?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. I mean, I always liked the DeLorean.
The Back to the Future car?
Yep.
Okay. Let's see.
Those are my two favorite.
Right. What do you know about the Back to the Future car there?
It's not as much as the Knight Rider car, but so let me think what I do know. I forgot what year DeLorean they used, or which they had a few of them, I believe.
They used 1985, I believe it was 1985 or 1981.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
They had three of them, I believe, didn't they?
I think they used multiples.
Yeah.
The one that was originally used in the movie is at the Peterson Museum, which is an automotive museum, and that was actually the one used in the movie. It's a 1981 DeLorean DMC-12, and of course we all know all of the specifications for it. It's got the flux capacitor in between the seats. It has I don't know what half this stuff is other than instrumentation and reading stuff. And then, of course, it had I don't know why it had these huge, like, rocket exhausts at the back of it, because in the original, they weren't using them for anything. That was only at the end of the movie when he got the upgrades to it from when he went to the future.
Oh, okay.
But that was a crazy car. Was you know, the DeLorean was made of stainless steel, so you didn't have to worry about it rusting and all that. The front cap of it, I think, was actually plastic on the nose there, where the headlight assembly and all that went into it. And one of the biggest complaints a lot of people had was that discolored much quicker than the stainless steel body did. So, you know, they made them look as close as possible to the stainless steel when they painted them, but as sunlight and everything got to them, they would lose their color, and that was
Yeah.
something that a lot of people got really upset about. Jennifer, those are actually called Lambo or DeLorean doors, and they've also been known as gull wing doors as well. So that you know, the problem with those is car doors are extremely heavy. So being able to make the car doors open up like they did, you know, it took quite a bit of pressure under a hydraulic cylinder to make that work and make it work properly. So
Yeah, I tell you what.
Go ahead.
Lotus did not want to put those doors on there. That guy, forgot the owner back then. He fought DeLorean all the way, but DeLorean said it needed three things. It needed to be stainless, needed the gull wing doors, and it needed to have the engine in the back.
Now, was the DeLorean a mid-engine? I thought the DeLorean was a standard front engine car.
I think that was one of the things. I could be wrong, but I believe that was one of the things DeLorean. He had to compromise in the end, so you might be right.
Yeah, I'm trying to look right now. DMC 12 engine placement. Yeah, rear engine. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. I didn't know the DeLoreans were rear engine like that. Have you ever ridden in one?
No, I did see one up close once, but I never ridden in one. Have you?
Well, we got the degraded daughters in here tonight. Welcome. Yeah, I got to ride in one. I know where one is sitting right now. Yep, that's the DeLorean DMC 12 from the. That's actually from Universal Studios. That's a replica of it, but it's pretty much the same thing. I know where one's sitting right now. It's about 15 miles from me. The guy will not sell it, and it's been sitting there. The only time I know it's moved is when he took me for a ride in it.
Wow.
That's the only time I've ever seen that car move. The rest of the time, it's sitting right behind. The guy owns a company that does some petroleum work. Hey, Dave from Gotta Love Thailand joining us. It was sluggish. It felt like it weighed a ton, which probably that stainless steel did make it weigh a horrible amount. So it's not surprising that it was so sluggish. But so what do you think about the Back to the Future car?
Oh, I liked it so much. Even, well, not recently, but right before I decided to buy my Prius, I did try to buy one, but they wanted too much for them, and all the ones they were, you couldn't get a good one for like under 25 grand.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yeah, I've never wanted to own one. I thought they were cool and all that, but it was just never something that really, I never thought it was a unique, I don't know how you call it, toy kind of thing, but I never really had interest in owning one. It was great to be able to ride one, and this one had like less than 5,000 miles on it.
Wow.
The guy had bought it brand new and parked it behind his business, and that's where it's at. And like I said, the only time I'd ever seen it move is when he came out, took the cover off of it, took me for a ride in it. So what's another car from your childhood memories that you really think about?
You know the only one, the Knight Rider one.
I know which one you're in love with, but let's see. What about this one here?
Let's see. Oh, that's cool. I wouldn't personally want one of those, but that's cool.
Do you know what it is?
The Volkswagen Beetle car. I forgot what car it showed from. Car 50. I thought it was car 55 though.
No, that's Herbie the Love Bug.
Oh, okay. I've never watched it though.
Yeah.
No.
based off of a 1968 Volkswagen. I think it was a Beetle. Yeah, Volkswagen Beetle.
Yeah.
You know, and they literally bought it right off the showroom and ran it into a paint shop, did all the work on it and everything, getting it looking like it did. But they only did a few things to it. I mean, they put a different kind of bumper on there. They put a light on the front of it here, like a rally car kind of thing, and then they put another tube bumper on the back of it. But otherwise, it was all just paint and polish. I think they actually left it the same color, the original color, and just added the accents to it for the movie.
Wow.
So not a fast car. That Volkswagen was, you know, I mean, of course, it was made out to be like it was some kind of race car or something like that in that day and time. But the fact is that the Love Bug, the Beetle, was not a fast car, but it was something that lasted forever. They were great little cars. There's, you know, you go out west now and you'll still see a ton of them out there still running.
Wow.
So they're pretty good cars. Okay, so let's talk about another one that you like. Because I got
Like you said, we don't have to. Yeah, we don't have to go right to the best one.
Oh no, we're waiting. So,
Best for last.
yeah, let's see here. How about see
Don't
if
forget
anybody
about the
remembers
Smokey and
this.
the Bandit one.
Oh yeah. What about that?
Yep, that's the 18 one. That's a very nice one.
Yeah.
Did you know why they used? Sorry to cut you off, Paul. Did you know why they used the GMC?
No, why?
They had, because I know a little about this from watching Knight Rider historians talk about other channels too. So GMC, they got a product placement company called the Vista Group.
Huh.
It went through GMC to get that vehicle, and that's why they use a lot of GMCs in the movies, because of the Vista Group, the product placement group.
Right. What year a van was that?
Oh, that I don't know. It looks like early 80s, doesn't it?
Right. It was 83 GMC Vandura.
Oh, okay.
So, and that became iconic. I mean, I don't know any kids that didn't know that one, you know.
Right.
That was every kid was watching the A-Team. It was the biggest thing out there. So, yeah, it was you know, everybody knew what was going on with the A-Team van. It was a huge thing. Let's see here, trying to find us a good image of the next one, because man, once we get towards once we go through a lot of these, we'll start talking about the actual you know, what they did for Hollywood, or what they did for the television and shows and movies that they were in. So what is this one?
That is the 77 Trans Am, also sourced from the Vista Group and Smokey and the Bandit.
I knew you'd know that one.
Yeah.
When we were talking about getting this one together, that was one of the cars that kept coming up with you. That and another one.
Yep.
That car right there, because of being in that movie like it was, the Trans Am just literally blew up. It was a huge thing.
Yeah.
And that's you know, for a lot of people, that was the dream car for a number of years. You and I were talking the other day. I was driving past that year of Trans Am, but it was gold, and it wasn't the black. But oh man,
Okay.
I wish I could have gotten a photograph of it. I get a chance. It's in an area where I go by a lot. So,
It's a cool car.
as we start looking into these, you know, we start thinking about what they you know, what it was, what they meant to the shows and everything. I think this one, to me, this is probably the king of
Yep.
the TV cars for me, and quite simply because I had that actual model, just in a different color. But you know, the 1969 Dodge Charger, they literally laid waste to hundreds of them filming that television show.
Yep.
So that's
Yeah.
to me, that was an epic one right there. You know, for me, every Friday night, Hey, Gary, what's going on? Every Friday night, I would be at my grandmother's, and I'd spend, no, Saturday night, I would be at my grandmother's and stay the night, and then we'd all go to church the next morning. And every night that I was there, we would watch the Dukes of Hazzard, followed by the Incredible Hulk.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was, big thing for me. So when I was able to get my hands on a 69 Dodge Charger as my first vehicle, that was just like a dreamscape for me. And, a lot of people don't think about it, but these cars become as much a part of the show as the actors and actresses that are in them. And and I think that it was, I don't think they give enough credit for what the vehicles did to the shows. You had the Dukes of Hazzard. Everybody knew the General Lee.
Yeah.
That was iconic. And then you had Herbie the Love Bug, which was an actual movie based around the car itself. You had Back to the Future, where would it have been possible to actually have Back to the Future the way it was without the DeLorean there? So, oh my goodness. Apostate Alex is here.
No, you say Apostate Alex.
Here to make sure everybody is behaving.
Did you know, Poe, that they wanted to use another product placement company? I forgot which name. They wanted to use, instead of the DeLorean, they wanted to use a Ford Mustang.
Really? I didn't know that.
And then I forgot. Wow. I wish I could remember who said, Doc Brown don't drive no blah, blah, blah Mustang.
Well, that's about, that's, to be honest.
That's true. It couldn't have been a Mustang. Mustangs are cool, but it couldn't have been. It had to be the stainless steel DeLorean.
Well, Marjan, some people have tried to say that that's racist. How's a car racist? It's the car's not racist. It's the intention and all that. This was built on the premise of these were Southern guys, and that was the South, and how everything was done. Back then, if you drove through the Kentucky all the way down into Florida, you would not believe how many places you saw the Confederate flag flying there. And considering the time that it was in and all that, no, I wouldn't consider that as being the car being racist. It's the consideration of what it was is inconsiderate to the people. Well, Alex, that's, maybe they stole a lock of your hair and took it over to Home Depot and got it color matched before they painted the car. So yeah, you have to think about the context, what it was in. And this was a vehicle that was built basically, it was built in California, and the whole purpose of it was to express a Southern, I know you're joking, was to express what everyone believed the Southern kind of people were, and the lifestyle and all that. And this was actually more of a gimmick kind of thing, because they were trying to say, well, this is how Southern people are and how they act. Not so much as, thinking about the fact that they were putting a Confederate flag on the top of the vehicle. It was the fact that, they were actually mimicking Southern people and the thought process. So yeah, it was, there's a lot of things that go into it, but you can't buy into all the hype and hysteria of them. A lot of people try to make things out of stuff nowadays that they shouldn't. What's that, Chad?
I like how throughout the whole run of the Dukes show, the whole time the Dukes were on probation.
Yeah. How in the world were they on probation and got in so much trouble? And there's them Duke boys again. Yeah. I guess they got themselves in a real pickle.
They always fell for the speed trap too.
Oh my goodness. 01 is right though. Gingers are always number one.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. But you had that car, literally you gotta think about it for a while. For a long time, the Dodge Charger, when it first came out, a lot of people loved the the Dodge Charger when it came out, and then it kind of faded away because you had a lot of other cars came in to play with it. It was that television show that actually brought the Dodge Charger back into focus, and a lot of people wanting it and driving the prices up on them. I mean, Lord, try to buy a Dodge Charger nowadays, a 69 or 70 Dodge Charger, and see how much that's going to cost you.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like that Trans Am. You know, if that car was painted out like the Dukes of Hazzard Trans Am instead of gold, the one I saw the other day, you know, you're talking $60,000-$70,000 for it.
Absolutely. In good shape. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, and they're horribly fast. No, it's not considered that. Extremists try to make things out for that, but the fact is, that's not what it's considered now. Let's see. I got one for you. Let me see what y'all think about this one. What you
Nice.
think, Chadwick?
Looks like Ghostbusters.
Now, the original, the Ecto 1, which is what that's called, was based off of a 1959 Cadillac Hearse professional chassis.
Wow.
So I bet that thing weighed 7,000 pounds, if not more.
Yeah.
That old style with how heavy all the body panels were on that, my goodness. Then add in all that weight for all the stuff they added to it. Man. Look at that with those fins
Yeah.
and those bullet head taillights on there. Oh, that's just a pretty car. I don't know. Yeah, I had a friend that owned a former hearse, but my goodness, it just felt creepy being in that thing, knowing what it had done. But you know, this again, here we have like the General Lee, the A-Team van, and a few of the others. This actually became, without even trying, became a huge part of the show itself. The movie in this case. And a lot of people, you know, when it's one of those things that's become so iconic that all you have to do is show them a picture of it and they automatically know what it's from and what it's for.
Mm.
So yeah, that's a favorite. But what do you think the vehicle that has probably been known more than any for being in television or movies, what do you think that vehicle would be?
Besides Knight Rider?
You gonna dig on
That's
that,
all I
right?
could think of. You know me, Poe. I can't think of anything else.
Well, it originally started as this.
Oh, okay.
You know what that is?
Is that one of the Batmobiles?
That's the original promotional Batmobile that was used on used in television and things like that. It was a 1956 Oldsmobile Rocket that they used for it. So, I mean, honestly, that's a clean car right there.
Yeah.
And this is the two women in it are the daughters of the man who originally built it for the Batman. I think it was for a television, you know, a quick television type movie. So,
That's cool.
yeah. But in all honesty, as much as we love that one, we know which one is more iconic when it comes to the Batmobiles.
Yeah.
And that would be that.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's a cool looking car too.
So, do you know what that's based off of?
I don't. It looks like 50s or 60s, but I don't know. I have no idea.
It was a 1955 Lincoln concept car called the Futura.
Oh wow.
Yep. That I'll see if I can pull a photo of that up for us so we can take a look there. But they really didn't have to do a whole lot of work to it to get it to be the Batmobile. Let's see here.
Wow.
And the really interesting thing about it was I can't get a good enough picture of it. There's one where someone actually redid a car to make it look like that one. I'm trying to find it right now. But when you see the differences, can you see that on the screen now? On the Wikipedia page?
No, just the Batmobile.
Okay. I'll get that one on there for us. So, and you can actually see the differences in there. It's I mean, you can see how close it is. That's how they looked.
Wow, that is very close.
Yeah. So when you look at that and you think about, you know, how the Batmobile looked, there wasn't a whole lot of work that they did to it. I mean, there was a lot of work. I'm not going to lie on that. There, you know, anytime you're doing a vehicle like that, but you know, when you look at the differences there, you know, they added into the hood there for that little nose bonnet kind of thing coming down into what looks like a beak there on the front of the car, and split the grill there on the front of the car. Looks like the wings there were pretty much in the same size range category and all that, and it had the dual bubble top like the Batmobile, and it actually closed. And they, you know, there was a big concept in Detroit with all the cars that were coming out. Yeah, yes, this was based off of the Ford Futura concept car. So was it, what did I say, Ford or the Lincoln Futura is what it was, and they built off of that to make the original television Batmobile. So they didn't have to do a whole lot to it, and one of the things was it took so much. You know, I'm stuck. I like that older car that they'd used. Yeah, I thought that was just, to me, that was incredible. What was that? That was the first promotional one, which is I'm trying to get back to it. 56 Oldsmobile Rocket. To me, that right there. Let's see. We'll pull that up. There we go. Too many things going on. To me, I like that better. I don't know. I think it's the liking of the old school kind of cars like that over the regular Batmobile, and the fact that this one came out first. That's something I would find more to my liking on it. But you know, the original Batmobile, that's, you know, the one that everybody knows. Everybody loves that one. So not gonna hate on it, but I think it's time that we get to something a little bit more along someone's.
Thank you, Devin.
Devin, I'm not seeing something from Devin. What'd they say?
No, I'm just saying. Devin was the English guy.
Oh, okay.
Devin Miles.
All right, there you go. Tell us all about this one.
That car, and people might disagree, but this is right from the Knight Rider historians. That car is from Knight Rider. So they used 1982, 83, 84, Firebird or Trans Ams, or they turned them into Trans Ams if they couldn't get the parts. All the cars were sourced from the Vista Group, product placement group. They got a lot of cars off of a train derailment in 1982 in California for free, because GM couldn't resell the car, so they gave them to the show. They had to be crushed after the show was over.
Really?
And yep. They also got cars for other NBC shows. I forgot which ones. Yep.
Wow, I did not know that. They had to crush them after it was over with, huh?
Yep. They owned a few. They owned, like, I believe 3 to 5 cars, but they got lucky with that train derailment, and those cars had to be crushed, though.
Wow. Now, here's one. Are there any pickup trucks that you remember?
In the show?
No, in any of the TV shows. Any pickup trucks?
I have to think. Well, this might not be what you're talking about. Didn't John drive a pickup truck as his personal truck?
I don't remember.
I believe he did. I believe he had like a late 70s to early 80s GMC. I don't know why. Yeah.
I'm going to pull one up for you that I think you might remember.
All right.
Before
Let's
I
talk
do
about, after that, we'll talk about Kit's molecular bonded shell.
what's that?
After that, we'll talk about Kit's molecular bonded shell.
All right. Well, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to let you go crazy on all of that. All right. What is that?
Oh, that is. It looks like an old Chevy truck. I don't know what show it's from.
You don't remember what movies? It was in a couple of movies.
No.
I'll give you a hint. It was the famous line used in that movie was "Right turn, Clyde." Does anybody out there know which one that one is?
I think someone said it here. Christopher Green said
No.
Karate Kid.
Nope.
Oh, wow.
Got to remember the statement, "Right turn, Clyde." The orangutan,
Yeah, I still don't know.
Clint Eastwood, Any Which Way But Loose.
Oh, wow.
And then I believe they used the same truck in the movie, Any Which Way You Can.
Wow.
Yeah, Jennifer, Any Which Way, but there you go. Shell and Jennifer got it. Yeah, that
That's
was.
cool.
I remember seeing that as a kid and thinking just how awesome that was. Not only for the fact the guy had an orangutan. Come on, you know me and exotic animals, but you know,
Yeah.
but that was you know, and then they had the. It was just good fun movie and a lot of things going on with it. So, all right, let's get back to. Let me find it here.
I did want to tell everyone that Kit does get 200 miles per gallon.
All right, there. Go ahead.
So everyone knows, so they don't have to rewatch the show if they don't want to. Kit does get 200 miles per gallon, all right, and he does have a turbo, and he has a turbine engine, all right. So I know that's hard for people to handle, but that's the truth. He has a molecular bonded shell. He can go through lava, okay. He can go through water. He can't really fly, but he could jump into buildings if he wants.
Wait a minute. Did you say lava?
Yep, he goes through lava.
What was Kit's biggest opponent?
Oh, you know what? Even though he goes through lava and all that stuff, he always complained to Michael. He always nagged Michael. He didn't like to be by the beach. He said the sea air is not good for his electronics and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He also had trouble with because he had like X-ray vision, but he couldn't see through like lead.
Oh, I see. What was
he had an evil car. He had an evil twin named Car, Karr.
Okay, I was going to ask you about that, but there was a very, very powerful opponent to Kit.
Oh, okay. You talking about Goliath?
I don't remember what was Goliath.
Goliath was, well, Michael Knight had a not a twin, but Michael Knight's the person that like made Michael Knight, his son was like his nemesis, and they looked alike because Michael Knight's face was created from his creator. But anyways, I don't remember that one.
You don't remember that one?
No,
That's the episode where they brought on and this is a guy I've known for decades. He actually got out of it when years ago, but this was actually in an episode of Knight Rider where the monster trucks were coming in big and all that stuff. I'm trying to find the recap for it so we know all about it. Let's see. Just trying to find it here. There's so many different ones.
Yeah.
Let's see. And basically what they were doing was they were using the monster trucks to round up and steal cattle.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, that's who was it? There we go. Gary, for me, the James Bond is the original Jaguar, is the is the James Bond car I think of. I don't know. What about you, Chad?
James Bond. I do remember. And I never really watched it, but I do remember the Lotus. One of them.
Did you never saw Moonraker?
No, none of those.
Oh my gosh, you got to watch Moonraker. All right.
Right.
And the Shirley Bassey songs in those. Oh my goodness. Love the songs. So, hey, creepy. Well, thanks for joining us back. And she says, howdy to the Chadster.
Hey, creepy.
But yeah, I remember when they went out and they did this. As a matter of fact, some friends of mine who live about 15 miles from me, they just had their monster truck was in a movie also, and it was for, I believe, Netflix, and it was called Little Evil. And I remember when they announced that, and it was crazy. It's a truck called the Shell Camino, and owned by Ron and Shelley Kujat, who live over in Plymouth, Michigan. And they got picked for being in a movie, and they came down to Detroit, filmed this movie, and it was I think it did okay on Netflix, but it for them it was a big thing because they got to be in a movie. I'm trying to find a decent picture of it. Really, really great people, husband and wife team. She drives the truck, and they call it Shell Camino because Shelley was originally called Aces High. And let's see here. They bought what was called the Aces High El Camino monster truck, and then they built a racing version of it for the new tube chassis bodies and all. And it just, really good people. Let's see. They have an insane ride truck that just does some crazy stuff. Let's see here. Okay. There we go. I hate doing all this stuff.
I know.
There we go.
Nice.
Really, really clean. And that's a El Camino body. And Ron wanted to run, the same kind of body that they had on their ride truck. And the thing is he didn't want the ride truck that they had at the time, the original Leaf Spring truck that they were using, was a show quality. It was Autorama quality paint job on it. And he did not want to mess up that body for making a mold for a fiberglass body for the race truck. So what they ended up doing was he actually bought one that was in the body was in good shape, but the rest of it was, the motor was bad, things like that. He actually bought a 1 gallon gas can and sat it inside the driver's seat. He had to sit on a milk crate to drive it home. Had to drive it home about 10 miles and ran the fuel line into that gas can. So because it didn't have a good gas can inside of it. And they ended up, that's how he got it home to make the mold off of it, was he bought an old one that was all messed up. And remember the story about that. I think there's a couple shocks that are on there that I sold them, that I had some spares around my place. And they bought some of those big shocks that go on there for me. Christopher, the A-Team van was a Chevy Ventura van, and what we say, 85 Chevy Ventura?
I think so.
And it was basically the GMC Ventura, which is basically the same thing as the Chevy van of the time. It wasn't an Econoline. It was actually a GMC. But I know that there's been a lot of spin-offs and things like that where they used something that was very similar to that. So let's see. Oh, and Tiff is here. Welcome, Tiff.
Hey, Tiff.
So Joel McCoy is in the house. Let's see. Yeah, he says, greetings to Chad, the Godfather.
Good to see you, Joel.
But getting back to the love of your life. Let's see here. There we go. Okay, give us some more info on this car.
Well, Kit had an ATM in it, so if Michael ever needed money, even though Kit didn't like to do it, sometimes Kit would give him $40 if he promised to replace it for gambling. If they were driving through, yeah,
That was what it was really for.
it was supposed to be for emergencies, and they had to replace before Devin found out. But yeah, he would do that once in a while.
Wow. Now, what did KIT stand for?
Knight Industries 2000.
Excellent.
And his evil twin car, Karr,
yep,
is standard for Knight Automated Roving Robot.
Let's see. I think there's actually a photograph of Karr that we could pull up.
All right.
Now, what else did they use as a Knight Rider vehicle?
Well, they used the 3 years, 82, 83, 84. If it was a Firebird, they'd have to dress it up as a Trans Am.
Right.
And they couldn't use as many as, like you were saying, the Dukes brothers, they wrecked 300 cars. They couldn't do this with this because this was a brand new expensive car. So they had to make one. One car was instead, it was just a shell of a Trans Am, but it really wasn't. Underneath it was a Volkswagen Doom Buggy.
Wow. Yeah, the photo's just too small. I can't really pull it up. But basically, Karr was a
the same model, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was it was the same make and model as the KIT, but it was blue on top and silver along the body line to the bottom.
Oh, okay.
So, but other vehicles they've used in this, in 1991, they did a made-for-TV sequel to the 1982 series called Knight Rider 2000. And they used a 91 Dodge Stealth that had been customized and a 1988 Pontiac Banshee, which was a concept car. And then one I'd never even known was in 2008, they did another update to it. And this time they used a Shelby GT500 Mustang for it.
Wow.
So,
well, I think if they make another one, they should use the original one. That's what Michael would want too.
Creepy. I don't think they've made Trans Ams in a long time.
No, they don't even make Pontiacs anymore, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, there you go. I know that they had talked about coming out with the newer models of like the Camaro and making that look much more like the original Camaros, and then making them look like the 70s versions. And then of course you remember the IROC, don't you? The Camaro IROC Z.
Yep. That
was a pretty interesting car. It was. I had a friend that had one. He, as a matter of fact, was a guy I played football with in high school, and he'd gotten a full ride to where'd he go? I think he went to University of Kentucky, and that was the present his parents got him for going to college, was the fact that he had done so well. So they bought him one of those IROC Camaros, and man, was that thing fast. So
wow.
Yeah, that's there's some pretty interesting ones out there. But a lot of people don't think about it when you're talking about these vehicles used for the movies and stuff, and the kind of effect that they had. I remember last week we were talking about, I showed you the vehicle from the Damnation Alley movie. And, that movie was actually expected to be the biggest movie of the summer. And unfortunately, it came out the exact same time as Star Wars A New Hope came out. And so we know what movie went big that year. But that was that was in that time when they actually had vehicles that were considered stars in and of themselves. The cars were as much a part of the show or the movie as the actors and actresses and storylines that were out there with them. And like with KIT, super hyper futuristic kind of thing. And it's funny when you look at them now, and this was supposed to be a very futuristic kind of thing, and they still had buttons and toggle switches and things like that in them. Whereas nowadays they just have a LED display screen or LCD display screen in the center of the dashboard, and they would all be touchscreen and everything as compared to how these were. And I mean, you look back at some of the stuff like the Star Wars, supposed to be super hyper futuristic, but everything that they have has been pretty much out of place for how many years now. Joel McCoyne, hey Chad, I rode in an electric car today. I learned the real meaning of slow. It was cheap, non-street legal from China. Weird but fun. Oh, I've seen some of those. The Chinese are dumping a ton of them into the world, and they're they're cheap as can be, but they're not fast. They don't have I think a lot of them have like 100-mile range at the most on them. So
yeah, I'll get the Chinese ones.
Let's see here from Creepy. I had my boys learn to drive a stick. You can't do a lot of phone stuff when you're driving. Yeah, that's exactly right. You know how to drive a manual there, Chadwick?
Not very good.
Really?
Yeah, I know. I wish I did.
Yeah, I basically got thrown into a car that was a 1980s Dodge Omni. Horrible looking car.
Yeah.
But it was a 4-speed, I think it was. And I basically got thrown in it, and the old man, basically beat me till I learned how to drive it properly. But, they say that's one of the best ways of keeping your vehicle from being stolen nowadays is to have it be a stick shift, because so many kids nowadays have no idea how to drive with a stick shift. And the boss mama is here. Goldie.
Hey, Goldie.
Yeah, I wish I had some of those weird little concept cars from back then, like the Omni. I wish I still had one.
Yep.
I'd love to get my hands on a Chevette or a Pinto. Ooh.
Yeah.
Same
with the Omni. I like the Omnis. When I was a kid, my next door neighbor had an Omni. I don't know why I always remembered it.
The kid across the street from me had a what do you call it? A Mustang Mach 1. And I absolutely adored that thing. Let's see if got to find a good sized picture of one. Yeah, the Omni wasn't exactly the prettiest of cars, but you know what? It was dependable. It was safe. Yeah. It was great on gas. So there you go.
Not bad.
They're, it was a good little grocery getter.
Yeah, so, they were just trying to compete with the Japanese at the time.
Yeah, but the first Toyotas in the United States were chain drive. They weren't. They didn't have like an active transmission and transaxle and all that like cars do now. They actually used a chain drive on the first ones that came into the United States, and then they made their way from that point forward. Now, of course, we know Toyotas are. Very good for what they, they last forever. They're good, hardworking vehicles. They don't tear up very easily. If you've watched Top Gear, then you know that they had that Hilux, which is the basic Toyota truck is what it was when they had it in the United States. It really didn't have much of a name to it other than that. But they took one of those and they couldn't kill that thing. That thing just kept running and running and running. Trying to find one right now that I would love to get my hands on if I can get it to where it's legal to drive on roadways, on highways and such.
Well, I tell you what, Poe. Oh, sorry, I thought you were done.
Go ahead.
I'm real happy with, I told you my Prius was sitting in the driveway for well over a year, maybe 2 years.
Right.
And the thing, all I had to do was put a trickle charge on the battery, and the thing started right up, got it inspected, and thing's got 135,000 miles. It runs like it's brand new.
That's awesome. So you're driving that now?
Yep.
What is the insurance company said about with the Leaf?
They're going to. Well, I can answer that question, but believe it or not, I can't. My attorney advised me I can't talk about the accident.
It's Goldie's birthday?
Oh, wow.
I didn't know that. Happy birthday, Goldie. What are you, 23, I think, now? Yeah, the boss mom, I think, she's 23. Yep. So, that's awesome. happy birthday to you. Hope you're having a great birthday. And why are you in here doing this stuff when you should be out celebrating your birthday,
I
woman?
know.
Chad, Jennifer wants to know how you're feeling. Any physical stuff or anything? You feeling okay?
They told me, believe it or not, they told me I couldn't talk about my accident, my attorney,
Oh, okay.
on social media. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I didn't think about
No,
it.
that's okay. I should have told you before, but I forgot.
Okay. That's all right, bud.
Yeah.
So y'all quit asking about it.
No worries.
So here's something I would love to get my hands on.
Wow. That's a nice
It's
little
called-
truck.
They're very prominent in Asia, especially they come out of Japan. They're called JDMs. And so basically they're little trucks. A lot of them are 4-wheel drive. They're mid-engine. The engine actually sits below and behind the driver. But the problem is they don't typically do more than about 50 miles an hour. So you can't get them legal to take on highways here in the U.S. for the most part.
Wow.
But there are people that are doing experiments where they're putting Honda Goldwing motors in them and Hayabusa engines in them. And these things will do 100 miles an hour.
That's
So
a nice little truck.
if I could find one cheap enough that I could actually take and throw in the garage and spend a good 6 months building up to what I want, putting the kind of motor in there that'll do what I want with it, I'd love to have one.
Absolutely.
They're right-hand drive, so instead of sitting on what would be customary as the driver's side of an American car, you're sitting on the other side with it. But yeah, I would love to get my hands on one of those. And you think about it, you're putting a motorcycle engine in it. That thing's got to get amazing gas mileage. They don't weigh hardly nothing at all. So,
Wow.
the couple things you got to think about is having that. Most of them don't have liquid cooled engines. They have air cooled engines, and you'd have to figure out a way to make it liquid cooled so that it could actually keep the engine from getting too hot. But something like that, like I said, if I can get my hands on one of those, I would have it in a heartbeat. I'd love to be able to put one in the garage. Most of them have a dump bed in them, so you can actually haul a ton of stuff in there and just dump it. They also have the sides of the bed itself unhinge, they unlock, and you can actually flip the sides of the bed down. So easy loading and unloading of different kinds of things. And yeah, I'd love to get my hands on one, especially one that's 4-wheel drive. Boy, I'd be in heaven with that. So
Nice.
they're pretty crazy. And like I said, if you think about the kind of mileage you would get with it with a motorcycle engine, the majority of them that come out of Japan and out of Asia are typically diesel powered, and they're very small. I mean, we're talking the kind of diesel engine you put in a small Kubota tractor. So you're talking 25, 30, 40 horsepower out of them. So, that might be a good contender for an electric vehicle.
Oh, absolutely.
Instead of running a gas-powered engine into it, you run an electric motor right into the transmission and a transfer case on it.
Yeah, it would go a lot faster than 50 miles an hour too, I bet.
Oh, I bet that thing, it would sling it.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering where you'd put the batteries at. I think we got a new project for us there, Chad.
Yeah. We'll team up on that.
Yeah, I could see that. And you're talking, this isn't much bigger than probably your Leaf and wheelbase and everything like that.
Yep.
So it's, they're a nice compact tight vehicle. Yeah, I mean, if I could figure out a way to make one electric with the kind of range that I need, that'd be a great one for doing the courier service that we have.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, they're cool little trucks. I'd love to have one like that. So, wow, that'd be awesome. Let's see. Christopher Green, my first vehicle was a 1980 Chevy Monza with a Delta 88 engine. Gift from your dad. That's awesome.
Nice.
80 Chevy Monza. I don't even remember those.
Yeah, I was gonna say it doesn't ring a bell.
I remember the name. I just don't remember the car. I remember that now. Ooh, what color was it, Christopher? So yeah, Chris, just put it in there what color it was. I got a whole page of them coming up here. Let's see. Joel McCoyne. I have a friend who got one of those trucks. They are slow but good workers, and that exactly. I have, like I was saying, I know people that have them, but they only use them on their own private property. They don't take them out on the roadway. Green. Okay.
Nice.
I know when you see this, Chad, you'll know what it is.
Yeah.
It's,
I recognize the name too, but I can't.
yeah, I remember it. I remembered it, but I couldn't remember what it was.
Oh, okay. It's a nice looking car.
Yeah, it looks like a little bit bigger version of a Chevette, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
So that's neat with that swoop back on there and all that. That's an interesting little car. How was it, Chris? Did you like it? I know you were saying it had the Delta 80, the old Delta 88 engine. Boy, that thing must have been a beast. Yeah, I remember we had the, what do you call that? We had that Monte Carlo for a number of years. It was Mom's car. And then Dad got her that humongous Chevy Caprice Classic, that monster gas guzzling beast that it was. Mom hated that car. Went from that to she had a Chevette for a while. And do you remember the Chevy Corsica?
I do.
That's what she had for a while there. That was actually a pretty decent car, and it looked kind of futuristic for the time. It had a very different kind of look to it. Trying to pull a photo of one up right now. They were pretty interesting, but Mom actually liked it, so can't harp on it too bad.
Yeah.
But there you go, Corsica. She had a silver one. And it had like that 1980s styling of, it was, they were trying to make it into a futuristic kind of car. She had one of those for well over 10 years. And she liked it. And I think she was just happy to not be driving that daggone Caprice Classic anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That monster, my goodness. It's a newer version than the one that was in the show Supernatural. Did you ever see that?
No, I haven't seen that. I know, right? Not an 80s show, Poe.
You're starting to hurt my feelings. Let's see. That was a 67 Chevy Impala. I thought that was a Caprice, but it was a very, I liked the show. I don't know why, but I liked the show Supernatural, the first couple of seasons, but that was the kind of car that they had.
That's a nice car.
Yeah. You know what? I mean, except for the fact that it's a four-door, I could rock that all day long. That's an awesome car. Four-door doesn't do well for a muscle car, does it?
Mm-hmm. No.
Let's see. There we go. Really, Christopher saying that the gas filter would always clog up. That's wild. Let's see. The Chrysler LeBaron. Do you remember those?
Yeah, big old. Yeah, I do. Big car.
Creepy. What year? And Shell had a Corsica in college with a V6. Yeah,
nice.
my mom loved it. So
it was the 3.1 engine then.
Yeah, creepy. That's that's what I thought. I thought it was either the Caprice or it was but it said it was an Impala. So, ooh, Ford Capri. Let me see.
Yeah, the name rings a bell. I don't remember.
I remember it, but I haven't seen one in a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Oh, wow. Wait a minute. Okay, I think I have an idea what this is. I'm trying to find a good enough size picture of it. And you tell me,
small car.
Tell me if it doesn't look familiar.
That wasn't what I was thinking of.
I'm trying to find another good picture.
It looks like a cool car, but
Does that remind you of a movie?
not me. No.
What?
What? No, I can't think of a movie that wasn't a Knight Rider, Paul.
Oh yeah, I forgot. If it's not, it's not a chatathon.
I know, right?
That's all right. We're not going to hate on you. Now, let's see here. I'm going to switch it over to another image here. And you tell me if you now recognize what this is.
It looks like an AMC car. I don't know where it's from though.
No, what movie?
Ooh.
There was a scene where they were chasing someone and he was coming over the radio saying, "I am the Knight Rider."
No, I've never seen that movie, whatever it is.
Wow, it's Mad Max.
Oh.
And Mad Max 2. I believe this version here is from the Mad Max 2, the Road Warrior.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, it was really interesting because the way that they portrayed it on the screen was that he could actually push a button and it would start the blower, the supercharger on the engine.
Okay.
And there's a couple different kinds of superchargers you can have on a car. Do you know what they are, Chad?
No.
The two most prominent styles are as you see on this one, it's called a Whipple style. And basically what it is you have the pulley on the very front of it spins two opposing gears that help to suck air in and create massive compression of the air going through, which is what a supercharger does. And then the fuel is mixed in with it. And then the other one looks basically like a turbo, but it runs off the same thing where it has a pulley that's turning it, and it does a lot of the same as a turbo would do, and that's called a centrifugal supercharger, a centrifugal. And it create high compression like a turbo does. Turbo uses the exhaust to turn one set of blades, fan blades, that force the other side that is separate from that to turn as well, and creates high compression, which makes the car go a lot faster. It creates more horsepower. I shouldn't say faster, but it creates a lot of horsepower by compressing that. Let's see.
Interesting.
Let's see. All right. Let's see. I'm looking here.
Who else is watching Knight Rider later? We know Poe is.
Oh, Knight Rider?
Yep.
Yeah, we'll see what I got going on. I don't even know where you would find it now. Where would you even find it at?
I bought one of the seasons on Google, Google, whatever it is.
You know what I've been trying to find, and if anybody out there can find it, the first time I appeared on Animal Planet was a show called Animal Cops Detroit, and it was season 1, episode 13, and it was called Foul Play. So if anybody can find it, I'd appreciate it, because I can't find it anywhere, and the only copy of it I had was on VHS. So how do I find that? You know,
Wow. What was it called again? I'll look for it later.
it is Animal Cops Detroit, season 1, episode 13, and it's called Foul Play.
Yeah, I'll look on Google later.
Oh, there was the other ones. It was the Aston Martin that Bond drove also.
Wow.
Whoa. Okay. So I'm telling you, the James Bond cars, my goodness, they had some blistering ones. This one is from Goldfinger.
Wow.
The Aston Martin. My goodness, that is such a wow. That's a beautiful car.
Classy looking car, yeah.
Yeah. Just trying to look through. There's a the listing here. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to go ahead and pull that up so everybody can see it. And this is the cars of James Bond. So the first one they put up there is the Lotus Esprit from The Spy Who Loved Me.
That's the one Elon Musk bought.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He said he's going to try to make a car that really goes in the water. He I don't know if he was joking or not, but he thought that car actually did go in the water for real.
And right down here. Oh, and Elon Musk now owns the exact car from the film. So, oh my gosh, the Aston Martin DB5 from Goldfinger, that right there.
Nice.
Wow. Aston Martin is currently running on a continuation run of replica cars from the original Goldfinger DB5. But it says you probably need James Bond levels of rich as well. Let's see, a Toyota 2000 GT convertible. I don't even remember that one from You Only Live Twice.
That's cool.
That's crazy. Let's see, World Is Not Enough. Never watched that, but it has the BMW Z8. Ooh, my goodness. Look at that. The Aston Martin DB10.
That's sharp, yeah.
Wow, that was from Spectre. I don't remember that one. I stopped watching them after what's his name, Roger Moore, got out of them. There you go, Chad. The Citroen. That's for you.
I like it. I like it.
I knew you'd be liking that. Oh wow, a Bentley 4.5 liter from Casino Royale. These are from Newers. There was they had a Ford Mustang Mach 1 and Diamonds Are Forever.
Wow.
Look at that. It's Aston Martin Valhalla from No Time to Die. Ooh. That's crazy. It doesn't say much about it. Land Rover, not really interested in that, but that was what they considered some of the best James Bond cars. So I always thought, didn't James Bond have a Jaguar?
It
I always
sounds
thought
like something he would have.
Yeah, I figured that they would use a Jaguar. I could have swore I saw that. Let's see. No, they're not showing any. I always thought that was one of the cars they used. I don't know where I saw it. Gary, I actually owned a Carmen Ghia, a Volkswagen Carmen Ghia that I was for my daughter, but she never wanted it. Ended up selling it. A stick shift, she wasn't really interested in it. Didn't have air conditioning. Yeah, Chris. That's why they were in the James Bond movies, is because they were, they matched up with James Bond, the sexy, awesome cars and all that. So, yeah, there's so many different ones. I mean, you look at the cars that were used in the Mad Max movies and all the different things. I mean, just in this last one, Fury Road, all the different builds they did for that with all the old Ford Model T type vehicles that they were running out there. Have you seen Fury Road, Chet?
Nope.
You haven't seen the new Mad Max Fury Road?
Nope. I only watch 80s movies, Paul.
We got to get you out more. Get you out more. There's these things called streaming services. You can watch them on there. But yeah, it's when you think about it, when you go back and you start thinking about your favorite movies, your favorite television shows, there's almost always a car or truck that was involved with it. I mean, in some cases, you had the what was the movie with the television show with the helicopter?
Airwolf.
Airwolf. There we go. With St. John. And I mean, that's something that, as you think about it, I mean, even with the Knight Rider series, they remember the semi with the big trailer that Kit would roll up into to get his upgrades and his updates and all that stuff. So it was
that was from the product placement Vista Group also.
Was it really?
Yep, that they used 1980 and a 1984 GMC.
Wow. Something that was really crazy was just recently they had the trailer from the original Smokey and the Bandit movie showed up in an episode of The Walking Dead.
Oh wow!
they couldn't believe it. They went to a junkyard to get a semi trailer to use to block the highway, and they were like, "Are you kidding me?"
Mhm.
There was the original Smokey and the Bandit trailer sitting there. If I get my hands on that old Kenworth and that trailer, ooh, buddy.
Mm.
So, all right, Chad, what do you got coming up
Let me think.
next few days?
I think Saturday probably another talk with Mark Turai and the Never Ends. I think
Okay.
that's about it.
That's it.
I think
I
so. I know
expect
we got
so
to get
much
more things.
of you.
Well, of course, next Monday we'll have the pre-show and the post-show, but
Right.
other than that, not too much going on. We're gonna try to get back out and doing things. Just been busy with paperwork lately.
Right. Let's see. Friday, I have another cop talk coming up. We're going to be talking about politicians, appointed and elected people behaving badly.
Nice.
I've got some really interesting videos of some people who've been either elected or appointed to a position, and one of them's actually just running for an elected position, and just the absurdity of the "do you know who I am" and things like that. So we're going to be talking about that, how they act, and you'll see how they actually treat law enforcement officers who they say, "Oh, I love the police. I support the police in every way." But the minute the police officer pulls you over, do you know who I am? Do you know how important I am? That kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
one of them that was actually involved in one of these things, when they interviewed him, he's like, "Well, I'm sorry that I bullied that officer. It was a female officer and just treated her like garbage." And just the whole thing of, you know who I am, you know what I do, you know how important I am and all that. And I'm just like, my goodness. And, his response when he was interviewed is, "Well, that's who I am. Deal with it." That makes any apology just completely out of context for it. It's stupid stuff. But I'm going to put them out there. I'm going to put them on Front Street, blast them, and go from there. I've got some more sovereign citizens, which I see are actually becoming quite popular for a lot of people. So we're going to be hitting on some more sovereign citizen stuff. Next week, what do you want to do a topic for next week there, Chadwick?
Oh, I don't know. I have to think about it. How about a 10-hour stream on Knight Rider, Poe?
Why don't you see if you can get the licenses for it? And we'll do it. We'll sit there and watch and react to it.
Yeah, I don't know though about the what we should do though.
We'll get the episode where they have the monster trucks on it, and we'll do a reaction to it. How's that?
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I'll see if I can figure out what episode that is and where we can stream it from, or if it's somewhere. But yeah, we can watch that one, and we can sit there and do a reaction kind of thing to it while we're streaming. So that's it that I've got for now. You got anything else coming on with you, or?
No, I don't have any. I don't have too many projects in the workshop. Hopefully
I've got Vanessa from the Graded Daughters is going to be coming on. We're going to be doing an interview with Vanessa. We're just waiting for her schedule to work out. Have a couple of other people that I'm working on, but until we're set on it, I don't want to say anything. I want to thank everybody that's been part of this community for standing strong and not letting what a certain outsider who has suddenly burst into this area and is really doing, I haven't been part of it, but I am so proud to see so many people are not engaging with it. And they are, remember what this community is about. The Never Ends, the SPTV, it's about helping people and doing the right thing. And, unfortunately, there are people out there that, they're going to try to monetize off something like that. And they're willing to do shocking things. And I'm just glad to see there are enough people that are mature enough and strong enough that they don't have to worry about that. So before we get going here, again, as always, like to thank each and every one of you, let you know just how much you mean to us. And, life is short. We get one shot at it. You got to make sure that you make it count. So I'll see you Friday night.